Hi, welcome. My name is Jennifer. Last week we started a series that has to deal. Last week we started a series that has to do with how we position ourselves as strategic executive assistants to the exec that we support. Today I will be sharing something out of my personal experience, and I will start with this short story. Early this year, my executive had a conference he was attending. We've booked all the flights, made reservations for the hotel, reached out to gymming centers where he could have his gym, put all those itineraries together, and everything was looking superb. Great. We also booked a ground transport that would pick him up from the airport to his hotel room, and on the day of departure, that would take him from the hotel back to the airport. On the D-Day, my executive traveled all day, and when he got to his destination, the guys that we booked ahead of time, remember, we've paid for this service, we made reservations, so we don't get to get a last minute change and all that, so we had to make reservations. So my exec got to the airport. When he arrived, this guy was nowhere to be found. He waited for 20 minutes, maybe he could show up, and he didn't, and we had to call to cancel. So as an executive assistant, how does this impact you? This is something that is not within your control, and that's to say that you might plan everything correctly and things might still fall through the crack. Exactly, absolutely. So that's why when you are working on events, planning for conferences, you have to anticipate. You have to, I don't want to say that we are pessimistic or be pessimistic, rather be realistic, because something might go wrong. It might not be from you, actually. It might be the third party that you're working with. The person might not show up, like in this case, no show up from the driver. So how do you navigate this? Remember, at this point, if you do not have a plan B, that's one thing. If you do not have a plan B, it will turn into chaos. And that's why most exec always say, I want someone that can work under pressure. They're not expecting everything to be perfect because they understand that there might be a last minute cancel. There might be a fire to put out. So in as much as you've done what you're supposed to do right, also anticipate that the next person, you're not in control of how they're going to show up. So one of the ways you strategically position yourself is to always have a plan B. I know you'd be interested to know how my exec was able to navigate this. Yes, we had a plan B, and we had both service available that he also had in his itinerary. I just put it there in case these guys could not show up. I've already made contact with them and placed them on hold. So he quickly reached out to them, and they came and picked him up and took him, and his stay was so seamless. So that's one of the way you position yourself as a strategic executive assistant. Don't always wait for the last minute to put out the fire. Always have plan B when you're making your initial plan. Hope you got value. Bye.